Today, I'm going to show you something that was due a month ago. What is the difference between the modern day DSLRs to that of really old primitive DSLRs? Alright, so my friend was playing a football game, right? So I went over to my friend and then I said, hey, how about I take a couple of photos of you for a content? And he said, sure, why not?
A few moments later.
So what I'm going to show to you today essentially is the pictures that I took. EOS 1000D, it's a model released back in 2008. Now this model does not have video capabilities, it shoots at 4K pictures. It's an APS-C sensor, which means that it only shoots at a 1.6 crop factor. So whatever lens that you're using here, you're going to have to multiply by 1.6, and essentially what it does is that it gives you a tighter focal length than what it actually is, or what you're actually buying. Can be a good or bad thing. For sports photography, it's good because you can't get into the action taking pictures of people up close when you're footballing. You can't do that with my 6D Mark II. So most of the time I ended up using 1000D together with this lens, and this is a 55 to 250mm lens. So a 1.6 times crop on the 250mm lens, that gives you 400mm, which is crazy far, okay? Like, let me show you this image. This image was taken I mean, if you guys don't know anything about camera, it looks okay, it's just a photo lah. But essentially, if you know what camera really does, look at this picture and look at this picture, and you see how far out I've actually reached because of this lens and because of the APS-C sensor. Now I must say, if you have 1000D still with you, just throw it away. I know it's kind of useless these days. No, don't throw it away. I must say though, the LCD screen back in the day, it wasn't that good as compared to today's LCD screen. Most of the time when I shoot my pictures, I was thinking, oh my god, that shot looks really shitty because the picture here looks really bad. But when I put it into the computer, holy crap, it looks night and day. It actually looks decent. It looks better than cell phone photography, that's for sure, but it actually looks not bad. So let me just explain a bit about why I think that this comparison is necessary. First things first, a $200 camera, you have a perception that maybe a phone can take better pictures than a DSLR. Why are you comparing a DSLR and a phone? Well, majorly because the technology in this is pretty old, and the technologies of phone keep advancing again and again. But what the phone cannot do is to enable a really large lens on the phone, which gives you a higher superior optics, which gives you an incredible image quality, even regard of the fact that this was made all the way in 2008. So let me explain. Look at this image here. Pretty cool, right? Some guys playing football and maybe a guy shooting a ball like that. But stuff like this you can actually capture with the DSLR, and you can blow it up and you can print it out. It looks great. But if you take it on the phone, no way can you actually do it that way. Now let's talk about the 6D Mark II, the $4,000 camera. So the 4000 camera, it's a full frame sensor, which means it doesn't have the 1.6 crop, which means that most of my shots are going to be like super far out. I can't really get a really tight angle. So for the most part, I think that the winner is the 1000D. If you're shooting like comparison between 6D Mark II and the 1000D on a sports event, I would take the 1000D. But surprisingly, the picture quality actually looks pretty good. For $1,000, for a 200 ringgit camera, you can actually get pretty good content out of this. If you're serious into photography, you just got fed up with mobile photography, you just want something a bit more, I would say maybe you can buy this used, 200 ringgit, 300 ringgit, maybe even 100 ringgit if you are lucky enough, and you can perhaps play around with it. And the major part behind this is actually more into your skills rather than anything technical, because let's face it, a camera this old, you don't really have a lot of modern day features that the camera like the 6D Mark II has, or the latest EOS R, R6, R5. You don't. You get a really primitive system and a really shitty LCD screen. But if you know what you're doing, you can actually capture some amazing photos.